evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News at 6. Thanks for watching. Tonight, why did a haunted house in Windsor get temporarily shut down? We'll explain. Plus, a tour of some of Windsor's standout Halloween decorations. We'll give you a tour, so get ready to get spooked. And we will tell you about how first responders are learning to rescue animals. That is later tonight. Let's start with that local scare house that went all out for Halloween, but it was told to curb its enthusiasm. The home in Riverside, which attracts a lot of visitors, was temporarily shut down by the fire department, and that had its owner saying boo-hoo.
This scare house goes all out for Halloween, but the owners were told to rein it in. Here's why. Rows of fake tombstones, inflatable ghouls and goblins have been making an appearance outside this Riverside home every October for the past 6 years.
It started and snowballed, and it's huge now. The community expects it every year. They love it.
But a complaint to the fire department forced Dunford and his wife to make some changes. They had to go buy fire extinguishers, add in emergency exit and no smoking signs. They also had to move straw bales as they are flammable. While they understand these things, their biggest concern is having to limit the number of people going through their maze. On Halloween night, Dunford says they will get more than 1,000 people coming to check out their house, lining up for blocks. But fire officials say that this year they can only escort 5 people at a time through the maze for safety purposes.
So that if the public is in a situation there, they can be guided safely outside the scare area. Unfortunately, now we call it on our radar. We may have to start stopping in other places and take a look at them, at their areas too.
So what should you do if you're planning to go all out for your Halloween display? Here's some tips from Windsor Fire. Tent material or fabric should be fireproof. Remove anything that's flammable like straw or corn stalks. Don't have open flames or candles. Displays with electric cords should not be pinched or connected close to combustible materials. And have a plan in place to get people to safety if a fire starts. As for the Dunfords, they're already on their way to spooking more people. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
And that house on St. Mary's Boulevard is just one of many in Windsor that's dressed for the scary season. With Halloween still a couple of weeks away, Dawson Chen mustered the courage to visit some other frightful yards.
As an experienced reporter, I don't scare easily. As an experienced reporter, yeah, okay. Okay.
These demonic decorations aren't quite as effective in broad daylight. Nevertheless, I'm on a quest to find some of the spookiest yards in Windsor. This one has become a tradition here in the Riverside area. Brad and Krista Brown call this their Twisted Circus.
Love it. Love Halloween.
Yeah.
Love
fun.
the reaction of the people.
Love it. The neighborhood
you know?
loves it.
Yeah,
everybody's so thankful and excited, and it's an exciting time.
Come and enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Come
yeah.
after dark, 7 to 10, lights on, everything's moving.
A little creepy, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's when you want to come.
Every October, this yard at 311 Isaac Drive becomes filled with evil jesters. According to the Browns, their animated props are handmade with love and insanity. I hate clowns.
Riverside isn't the only part of the city with haunted homes. From Fontainebleau to South Walkerville, Halloween fans across Windsor go to elaborate lengths to scary up their places of residence.
Here in South Windsor, Reaper's Gate at 3150 California Avenue is another terrifying tradition. The Burkowski family build a tent maze on their property and dare people to enter. Weekends only.
There's joy and there's fear. There's a lot of laughter. There is a lot of laughter. And if there's some crying, they have the chance to turn around and go back. It's fun for us. Like we've loved Halloween. It's like the best holiday that's not really a holiday.
Nighttime walkthroughs are available this Saturday and Sunday, 7:30 to 9:30. There's no admission fee, but contributions are encouraged for community causes. This year's donations will go to the food program of the University of Windsor's Students Alliance. And if those yards somehow aren't Halloweeny enough for you, Don't forget about the downtown Windsor Zombie Walk this Saturday night, or the Nightmare in Sandwichtown Street Party on October 25th. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Very cool. The Windsor-Detroit Tunnel has only 2 planned closures in a year, and one of them is this Sunday for the Detroit Free Press Marathon. Thousands of runners are registered for the event this year, and many participants run across the Ambassador Bridge and through the tunnel as part of the International Half Marathon. While the bridge will have restricted traffic to accommodate the race, the tunnel will be completely closed to vehicles from 6:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Sunday, and then traffic will go back to normal after 10. Colette Kennedy joins us now for a look at our weather forecast. Colette, I have fond memories of that marathon. I ran it 2 years ago, and I know we're really excited for some folks in our newsroom who are going to run it this weekend. So talk us through the weekend conditions and what they have to look forward to.
Yeah, and what I'm so encouraged by are the conditions that we're expecting. Now, I think they couldn't be more perfect. You may want to not overdress because, in fact, still tonight temperatures are a bit cool, but with the warmth that's building in, it's actually tomorrow night, so into Sunday morning, where even the overnight lows become a bit milder. So many, we're going to go on a little temperature tour here. I want to show you all kinds of different things. Starting off with temperatures from this morning, I want to compare and contrast what's been happening, say, for the lower Great Lakes, or specifically look at Barrie, was below freezing at -1. Northwestern Ontario, though, we had double digits at 6 a.m. However, a cold front that was coming in means things kind of flipped around here. So as I push this forward, now the temperatures are actually coming down so that they're kind of close to where they were this morning or dropping. And then it picks up at Thunder Bay with the 19, plenty of teens all around. And in fact, our neighbors over there in Chicago at 20 degrees. So that heat, if we take it from there in Illinois and push back towards the Plain States, you can see lots of mid-20s. And some of that is actually going to arrive. Give it a couple of days, but we are going to see those climbing readings. 16 right now for Windsor, for Chatham, Kent, Sarnia at 16, LaSalle as well, where, by the way, there is the farmers market tomorrow at the LaSalle Event Center. Just so many things going on this weekend that you can enjoy the good conditions and the areas where the leaves are changing a little bit too. The southerly flow helping out with those temperatures. All the active weather is still back well to the west of us, some of it along that cold front I was just talking about when I was showing you the temperatures there. But look how this very strong, this dominant ridge of high pressure protects the lower Great Lakes. This front is going to go, nearly zonal here as it turns on its side, on its axis, because that ridge keeps dry conditions south and it has to go around. So that's really what we're looking at, being protected for a few days into the beginning or even mid next week. So readings tonight, yes, some patchy fog development, lows of 4 to 5 degrees. But like I said, even those overnight lows are going to be climbing and will go towards the double digits. So the high tomorrow, 21 with sunshine, Sunday 22, and I do think we'll actually find that by the time the marathon takes off, that temperature is going to be up there around 10 degrees or so even on Sunday morning, and then Monday, sunshine and 24. There it is. You know it's going to come to an end, but it's several days off. It looks like kind of mid next week is when we get the showers coming in and the temperatures falling.
Good things come to an end, ain't that what they say? Oh, well, we'll enjoy it while we can.
It's going to be a nice long run.
Thanks, Colette. Now, typically when first responders arrive at an emergency, it's people that they are rescuing, but not always. Sometimes it's livestock that need the help, and those rescues require a different approach. Today, some local first responders got firsthand training on how to help. Dale Molnar stopped by to have a look.
Just because you were nervous when you first approached the horse and maybe he pushed you around a little doesn't mean it's all unsalvageable.
A trainer with equine Guelph at the University of Guelph gives a little instruction in some horse whispering.
And let's just see what that sort of nervous response looks like in a horse.
First thing is we always recommend getting the owner and a veterinarian involved.
Susan Raymond says there are a number of techniques the first responders need to learn in order to rescue livestock animals that have been trapped or injured in some sort of mishap.
And so we really focus on training first responders on how to deal with an animal, looking at their welfare and also safety of those involved.
Okay, we're going to go 10 paces back. Prepare to haul. Haul. Stop.
Perfect. Some of the training involved using a mannequin. In this scenario, a horse needs moving.
We're going to go back 5 paces on my call. Prepare to haul. Haul. Stop.
Some of the firefighters at the training session had to deal with this in real life back in 2016 when more than 100 dairy cattle were trapped in a barn fire in Tecumseh. Captain Darryl Dupy was there.
Back with the Jopen fire, we found it very challenging to get the animals out of the barn when they're in high stress situations. We're learning different techniques today to how to deal with that and get the animals out of danger.
Deputy Chief Kevin Cavanaugh says this training would have come in handy.
And learning from this morning already, is we're learning how they're herding animals where they like to stay in groups. So kind of knowing that, we might have helped us maybe move more animals at once. But I know a lot of the guys were trying to pull the animals out, and rightly so. That many pound animal isn't going to be pulled out by a rope or anything like that.
Cavanaugh says they don't have all the equipment that was used in the training, so they hope to get some of it in the near future. This training doesn't cover everything, and the University of Guelph offers training on other scenarios. And some of the first responders here say they will be taking more courses to learn more. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Essex.
This time of the year in our region, there's chicken in the woods. Now, it's not actually a bird, but a variety of mushroom known as chicken of the woods. The fungus gets its name because it mimics the taste and texture of, you guessed it, chicken. CBC's Mike Evans ventured into the woods with a local forager.
Usually when you're going to harvest a chicken in the woods, you're going to want to find where it's tender. This one's pretty tender on the outer fronds here, and it gets firmer as you go into the core. My name is Matt Lombardo. I work at the Mushroom Hub and at Nooch Eatery. Today we're going to be looking for some local wild mushrooms. The ideal time of year is usually early to mid-September to mid-October. It does vary each year depending on precipitation, although chicken in the woods isn't necessarily that prone to rain. I mean, you can find it whether it's been dry or not. It still tends to have an effect on the overall season, it seems, year to year. Usually have about a 4 to 6 week window locally. These are good for frying like you would fried chicken. You can make strips out of them, marinate them in teriyaki. It's a great way to go. So here we go. I've just got some reverse osmosis clean water here, and I'm just gonna brush it with a fork in place of a brush. I'm gonna use this fork just to scrape away whatever non-mushroom matter, biomass you'll see here. Like white chicken breast, this is a very similar experience, taste-wise and texture. And like when you tear it, the fibers are very similar. So we started out with about 5-6 ounces off the forest floor, and after cleaning and separating, now we got about maybe 2 ounces of friable, edible chickens. So here's the end product. We have got the battered chicken of the woods here at Nooch. Forest fresh. We just harvested these less than an hour ago, popped them in the fryer, and they're ready to go. Tastes like my memory of chicken. Yeah, it's got the same fibrous texture, same white chicken breast sort of experience, with that nice crunch and that nice batter, great texture to go with it. And our plum sauce really finishes it, really marries up the flavors well. This is really the sweetness of the experience of being out in nature and having a relationship with nature, and then actually getting to ingest that natural experience. It's a culmination.
Well, I had no idea that mushroom could actually taste like chicken. Gonna have to try that someday. When we come back, we're gonna have both national and international news for you, so stay with us. Welcome back. Canada today detailed a $65 million military aid package for Ukraine, part of $500 million pledged last July. Today's announcement came at the NATO Defense Ministers Summit, where Bill Blair said the alliance has reaffirmed its commitment in meetings with Ukraine's president.
We spoke a great deal about NATO's strong and united resolve to support Ukraine as it defends itself against Russia's unprovoked and illegal invasion, and we remain all collectively committed to more than ever to this support, and we will continue to do more to help Ukrainians in their courageous fight.
The Canadian package announced today includes small arms, ammunition, and training. Since the Russian invasion, Canada has committed more than $4.5 billion in military aid. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are both today across the water from us in Michigan. It speaks to how important winning the swing state is to both presidential candidates. The CBC's Chris Reyes is in Dearborn, where a single issue is having a big impact on voters.
We're in Michigan, home to one of the largest Muslim and Arab communities in the United States. Here in Dearborn, Arab Americans make up the majority of the population, and you really get that sense on this street with the businesses and the shops. In 2020, Joe Biden won this swing state by a sliver, in part because of the overwhelming support from that community. 4 years later, that support has all but imploded, and it has everything to do with the Biden administration's policy on Israel.
I cannot emphasize my disgusting with the current administration and their lack of leadership, their lack of empathy toward the Palestinian people, toward the Lebanese people.
Michigan is considered to be one of the 7 swing states in this election, which could potentially make the sizable Arab and Muslim vote a very powerful one. But even with Kamala Harris's multiple visits to the state, it seems many in the community are not willing to back her.
Muslims in Michigan are very politically empowered, and a lot of talk on the street by some is, well, in order for Muslims to get respect, and in order to change the foreign policy, that the Democrats need to be punished to take the Muslims more seriously, and this means punish them at the polls, even at the risk of Mr. Trump becoming president again.
Harris did get the endorsement of Engage, a Muslim voter advocacy group. Trump has scored his own endorsements from the community.
They are at least giving us a seat at the table. They're at least hearing our concerns. And that is something that has been missing from the Democratic Party for months and months and months now. They've ostracized Arabs and Muslims from the DNC, from even meeting with Harris, from even listening to our concerns.
But there are others who are actively advocating against both Harris and Trump, and even backing a third-party candidate.
What have these children done to die like this? Such an unimaginable, horrible death. They don't deserve to die like this. That is why we are abandoning Harris. We are going to hold them accountable.
What we did hear consistently from the Muslim and Arab voters that we talked to here is they're voting on one issue only in this election, and that's ending the war in the Middle East. Chris Reyes, CBC News, Dearborn, Michigan.
Details were revealed today of a proposed settlement between tobacco companies, provinces, territories, and tens of thousands of Quebec smokers. The multi-billion-dollar deal was decades in the making. The CBC's Jennifer Yoon is in Montreal with the details.
$32 billion paid out by 3 major tobacco companies to smokers diagnosed with lung cancer, throat cancer, or emphysema, as well as provinces and territories to recover healthcare costs. If the proposed plan is accepted, it would be the biggest deal of its kind outside the United States.
When we started this case in 1998, not a single person in the world had received a single penny from a tobacco company in compensation. And as a result of this litigation, tens of thousands of Canadians will receive very significant awards.
This is the result of a legal battle that's been going on for decades. The Quebec class action lawsuit was filed in 1998, involving smokers that got seriously sick or couldn't quit. The plaintiffs won the case in 2015. It just took this long for the potential payout because the companies were seeking creditor protection. If this proposed plan is accepted, the plaintiffs would file claims for compensation up to $100,000 each. But many of the class action members have died already, so their successors will be eligible for the compensation.
Obviously, our loved ones won't come back from the dead, but at least it gives us
some kind of justice, some kind of closure.
The proposed plan also includes more than $25 billion for provinces and territories recouping health costs, as well as $2.5 billion for smokers in other provinces diagnosed with some cancers between 2015 and 2019. It must be voted on by creditors no later than December 12th and approved by the court. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Montreal.
We'll tell you about our new marketplace investigation right after the break. Stay with us. A marketplace investigation has found many popular restaurant chains serving halal food have staff members who can't answer basic questions about it. And as Charles C. Agro shows us, some say the system that's set out to ensure standards are met is often failing.
You can see the meat glisten.
Before food bloggers Mohammed and Sarah Arfan eat at a restaurant, they need to get a few questions answered about the halal food they're being served.
So what we're looking for is the meat halal? Can we see the certificate?
So when an establishment is not well informed, they can lose a customer that day.
For meat like chicken, beef, or lamb to be considered halal, the animal must first be in good health and treated humanely. Then a prayer is recited before the animal is slaughtered by a Muslim, with a swift, deep cut across the throat. To see how well informed some of Canada's top fast food chains are about the halal they're selling, and whether we can trust the certificates they show us, Marketplace went undercover, visiting 2 KFC, Boston Pizza, Popeyes, Osmow's, and Mary Brown's locations across the Toronto area.
Is the restaurant certified halal? Yeah. The whole restaurant is? Yeah. Certified halal? Okay.
6 of the 10 locations said their entire restaurant is certified halal, when in fact, none of them are.
I would be very disappointed if I was the customer of that restaurant and having to find out that I am being misled.
Subadar says the certification system is often misused, and a restaurant should not claim to be certified unless each ingredient and meat source has been verified halal. While the Canadian Food Inspection Agency requires halal products be certified, the certifying bodies, and there are more than a dozen in Canada, are not regulated. Subadar is calling on the government to change that.
First and foremost, we need to decide what the standard is going to be. Everyone needs to be aligned with those standards. And then there should be periodic audits, just like there's audits for everything else, right?
The CFIA declined to talk to us, but says it's up to the certification bodies to ensure religious requirements are adhered to.
As for the restaurants, Osmow's tells us that it will reach out to its certifiers to learn more about the certification process. Mary Brown's tells us that they are committed to transparency. And Boston Pizza told us that its locations which offer halal menu items, well, they are required to complete online training. KFC and Popeyes did not respond to our requests for comment. Charles Ciagro, CBC News, Toronto.
Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and if you're running that marathon, good luck.